press. So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here? Is that correct? Indeed, that is it, and the very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. Surely even you understand by now. Lordly Taylor provided that camera. There's no way I could have tampered with it. It means I could not have killed Kane Bullard unless I had an accomplice. Come on, think long and hard about that night. The basement warehouse. In this picture that's supposedly captured. It's gotta be here. Isn't there something funny? Sure. Are you implying that this picture's a fake? You bet I am. There's definitely something strange about this picture. We took a look around the basement warehouse that night before the theft took place. And there's something in the photo that doesn't match the memory of that night. Very well, then let's hear what you have to say. What do you think what did you find funny? I mean, it would have to be the paint, right? Because nothing else here relates to something we saw last night, so paint. The funny part is right here. Why, this is a blood stain. No. Oh, blood! Now this case is getting interesting. Not exactly. This stain's actually pink paint. Oh, just paint. And peach colored at that. From blood to peaches. The judge loves going on his wild tangents. He's a very unique judge. The problem with this photograph is not the paint. The problem is when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse. It turns out that something that should be there is nowhere to be seen. Well, Mr. Wright? What is supposed to be in this picture instead of the paint stains? It should be the statue. The supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following. Well, there's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime afternoon, that gold statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. I realized that the statue would be the perfect size for covering up the bloodstains. That's why I put it where you first saw it. I myself was there the night the theft took place, and saw the statue in that spot. If this picture was truly taken on that night, then that statue should have been there.
Objection!
But when I went there the day after the theft, that statue of the old bag was sitting in the corner. Perhaps it was somehow pushed there accidentally. Your Honor, the statue is slightly larger than yourself and quite heavy. It would take more than an accidental move to push to move it in that much. Fuck. In that case, can you prove it? Can you give us the rhyme and reason as to why that statue was moved that night? Can you do it, Nick? Never mind who moved it. The real question is, why did they move it? Well, Mr. Wright, I hope you're prepared with your answer. Who was the one that moved the golden statue on the night of the crime? Adrian wouldn't have done it. It has to be Master Mask. What do you think, Mr. Godot? Fucking... A man should be able to answer his own questions. That's what I think. Fuck you. Right now I'm busy trying to come up with the 2 answers of my own. Why is coffee black and why is it bitter? Mr. Wright, to put it simple, you've messed up. What are you doing, Nick? You need to think about why that statue was moved. I don't know! The thing about that, when everyone chews me out, is that it gives me time to think. I mean... Okay, Master Wright, I hope you're prepared. Now then, who did it? Okay, I guess fucking look at me. The one who moved the statue is none other than look at me. Isn't that what I do? Whatever. Oh, yeah, I guess he's not Master Mask, so saying Master Mask moved it kind of destroys that argument. Come now, good sir lawyer, there you go again on one of your strange delusions. Mr. Wright, what basis do you have for your strange delusions? Thanks, Judge. It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night. That is indeed very simple. However, Why would I want to move a heavy golden statue? The reason for moving the golden statue. Here's where our battle really begins. Well, Mr. Wright, what reason did the witness have to move the statue? The reason can be found here in this photograph. Look at me, you pretended to be mask to mask, to create an alibi by showing you were at Lordly Taylor that night. But this photo contains a single fatal flaw. If the statue had been there, your lie would be exposed like cheap film at a drugstore. That is why you moved the statue. A single fatal flaw? What's a fatal flaw? Interesting theory. Please enlighten us. Just where in this picture does the lie exist? I mean, the time's a lie. I mean, that just has to be. That has to be wrong. But I don't know how the statue affects the time. So... because this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Let's go with the time, I guess. Naturally, the lie in this photo is the timestamp, even though I'm not sure how he would have manipulated it, but let's go with it. What do you mean? I'll tell you exactly what I mean. On the night in question, Luke Atme went to KV Security and murdered Kane Bullard. Therefore, it's obvious. It would have been impossible for him to have been at Lordly Taylor at that time. Oh, well and good, Mr. Wright. But what does that have to do with the statue being moved? Remember, if you will, Your Honor, when was the statue placed besides the warehouse door? Beside the warehouse door. Oh. The statue was taken down to the warehouse on the day of the crime, and was placed there in order to cover up the paint. Exactly. Luke Atme had already decided on the time when he was going to kill the victim, and so in order to create an alibi for that time, he took this picture days before the murder took place. What the? And who moved it? And what? Of course, the statue hadn't yet been brought down to the warehouse yet. It doesn't give a date, it actually only does give a time, so that's a very fair point. So on the day of the crime, Mr. Atme must have been quite nervous. As nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory, so to speak. Why? Because something that wasn't supposed to be there had been brought down and placed where it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke Atme had to move the statue on the night of the murder. He did it to make the room match the way it had been in the photo. Order, Mr. Atme, is this true? One moment, Your Honor, have you forgotten this? What's that? The data for the basement warehouse computer, according to this. The camera did indeed go off on the night of the crime. It's true that the camera had been set up by Lordly Taylor's staff. However, the program used to manage the data was yours. That alone could have allowed you to tamper with the data. Order! Mr. Godot, what is the meaning of this? Godot, I warned you about making me wait. Now put that coffee down. My 11th cup. I've promised to drink no more than 17 during a trial, which means I'm still good till the last drop. However, the defense has a very good point. Good point. So what? We are all but travelers on a road to infinite points. I think you've got your points mixed up with your other points. So you say this photograph was taken ahead of time? And that the statue was moved in order to make it match? That's a very interesting idea, however, there's one point that you can't be denied. Which is... that's only a possibility. Men that are trapped by chains of maybe can never reach their dreams. That's very true. No way, don't fall for that, Your Honor. Hey, Mr. Damask. Yes? Is there no funny business in your actions as Master Mask? And there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy, so let's hear it. Yes, please provide this court with your testimony. About your plan to steal the sacred urn. This is where he's gonna fuck up. I first received the request from Lordly Taylor about 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a box in Zaviri. It was then sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. Yeah, about that, it's actually not valuable at all. It's actually completely worthless. I then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. And at last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th. That's pretty much all the stuff we've heard before, isn't it? Yeah, but we will find the truth hidden in the nuggets of the information he gave. Witness, you're sure there are no mistakes in this time? Zaviri! Well then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. I'm gonna beat this motherfucking ass. You were asked to guard the urn by Miss Adrian Andrews. Indeed, it seemed that they had heard of my Zavarkiling reputation. I see Miss Andrews is still attracting the weirdos. You'd better watch out too, Maya. The urn was placed in a box in Zaviri. Zavari, fucking. You mean this box? Yes, that pathetic box. Lady Andrews was especially taken with that urn, and she wouldn't let anyone enter the storeroom, not even me. Interesting new tidbit. New tidbits are always welcome. So you're sure that you had never seen the urn before? Indeed, you may ask Lady Andrews to confirm it yourself. My security was focused entirely on the entrance of that warehouse. However, I look at me, let no information whatsoever slip through my fingers. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent the card beforehand. This is where I get you, buddy. Wasn't that? Yeah. It should be this. Are you fucking kidding me? What's the fucking one that had it that it said that it was absolutely fucking worthless? Fuck you, Judge. I don't think that won me any points. You can go to hell. You mean this calling card? That's right, that is, without a doubt, my calling card. I guess Mr. Delight didn't make this after all. Of course, because I knew about the emblem. Making this card authentic would have been child's play to him. So then no one entered the basement warehouse? Unfortunately, there were many different treasures being taken there. Thus, for a period of approximately 5 days, people were indeed going in and out of the warehouse. At last, I held the urn. And this is the photo that proves that, huh? Indeed, to be honest, even if the photo was taken. I didn't think it would matter terribly much. Hey Nick, if this photo is a fake, Detective Atme might have stolen the urn whenever this was taken. That's true. You know, he's been saying that he never saw the urn until that night. If we can prove that he's lying there, we can wrap this up and put a little bow on it. I need to take a good hard look at the court record. Not a lot to go on, is there? The detective's been covering his tracks. There's only one thing we need to prove in this cross-examination. They took this photo well before the actual night of the crime. Alright then, how do we do that? There's one thing that Atme stated very clearly. They had never seen the urn before he stole it. We need to prove that he's lying. You wouldn't have known that. Like if you'd never seen it, you wouldn't have known that. How do you know it was in a box? Present the urn? What do I fucking present? Oh my god. Let's just go through everything. It wouldn't be that, Check. To the lordly security, I'll be coming to purloin the most precious work of art on display. Your treasure of Korean exhibit. Please take care of the speckled urn. How did you know it was speckled? Whatever, I still say that other one was right. Fuck it. Then you also wrote this calling card, correct? But of course. Is there a problem with that calling card? Allow me to read a passage from the calling card that Master Mask had written. Please take care of this speckled urn. Now that the speckled here surely refers to the pink pattern on the speckled on the sacred urn. Yes, that is true, but so what? Truth be told, there's no way that the mask could have known about this pattern. What do you mean? The pink spotted pattern on the urn is actually nothing more than paint stains. Paint stains? These stains did not appear until after the urn had been taken from Lordly Taylor. I'm not finding this joke to be very funny, Mr. Troit. The day the sacred urn was taken to the warehouse, the urn was broken due to human error, or should I say, an error-prone human. And that's when the pink paint got on the urn. You can't be serious. And yet this calling card clearly mentions the paint pattern. Which means Detective Atme had seen this urn long before the crime ever took place. In fact, he saw it when this fake photo was taken. Ugh. And because the photo is fake, your alibi for the night of the murder no longer holds water. Witness, do you have anything to say for yourself? Alright, that did it. He's broken. Nick, I think it's still a little early for a victory pose. Huh? Huh. It's so sad. No one has any conviction these days. Conviction, you say? Yesterday, we all decided unanimously that this man was Master Mask. And now you're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle? That's a good point. No way, don't fall for that too, Your Honor. You say that Luke Atme was the one who killed Kane Bullard. Then let me ask you this. Why would he do that? An excellent point. Motive, Mr. Wright, motive. My merry murderous motive manifest? Nick, he's getting his second win. He prepared an alibi and pinned his crime on Delight, as you say. He must have had a very strong motive for murder. The only one with any murder motive we've seen is Ron Delight. Isn't that right, Detective? Indeed. According to my research, the boy's motive is clear. Without a motive, it's nearly impossible to prove guilt in a murder case. Now then, maybe you can enlighten us to what the defendant's motives were. Thank you, Sir Old-Timer. They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite our lack of hard information, this may be our only chance. Fuck. I, Luke Gadme, had no point of contact with the victim whatsoever. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Master Mask and simply mistook who he was. It was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron Delight. How do you know about the blackmail letter? And it was again Mr. Bullard who harbored a grudge against Mr. Delight for his betrayal. Can I present this? No, yeah. He would have no idea what the blackmail letter was at all. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is Master Mask. That is why Mr. Delight has sought fit to kill Kane Bullard. Truly a tragedy. So the victim, Kane Bullard, blackmailed the defendant. This is the blackmail letter found in the defendant's apartment. Handwriting confirms that Mr. Bullard was indeed the one who wrote the letter. What? Are you kidding me? I was really hoping it wasn't going to happen that way. Whatever. Very well, Mr. Wright. Begin your cross-examination. Can I actually prove that with this article? It doesn't say he worked with them. But I remember hearing from somewhere that they were also investigating, which could imply that they knew about each other. And who in the world is going to prove that? I will. After doing a thorough background check of Detective Abney and Kane Bullard, we were unable to find any links between them. It's all in the report. Perhaps they were connected through their work. They were both involved in security. Nope. That was blunt. In any case, the only one with motive was Mr. Delight. I'm sorry if I don't take you at your fucking word when you want the other guy to be found guilty. Can I see that report instead of just saying, oh yeah, it's in a report. Don't worry. I investigated it. I'm good. Mistook? That's right, mistook her from the old Norse mistaka, and meaning to take an error. That wasn't what I meant. So who did the victim mistake Master Mask for? Why, the answer's obvious. Ron Delight, of course. Boy, I'd like to wipe that smug look off this guy's face. Press harder. Why would the victim mistake the defendant for Master Mask? Don't you already know that? Zavari, take a look at this newspaper. Oh, that's the famous Tear of Amon, the magnificent gem. That photo shows a magnificent detective as well, does it not? Jesus. Furthermore, it also shows an ugly god, namely the defendant. The defendant? The victim clearly misread this article in Zavari. You got the wrong impression. The impression that this ugly security guard was in fact Master Mask. I see. That was an unusually reasonable deduction. You mean this blackmail letter right there, here? It says bring $50,000. And the handwriting is without a doubt the victim's. There's no mistake. We have an official report to prove it. But I don't see an addressee on this letter anywhere. An addressee. The letter was discovered in Ron Delight's apartment, and Mr. Delight did show up at the designated place and time. The fact that there is no addressee is irrelevant. I wonder. What's up, Nick? I just had a thought. What if that blackmail letter wasn't meant for Mr. Delight? That's actually a really good point. Whoa, do you have any evidence of that? I don't. For some reason, I just can't shake the feeling that there's something not quite right about this blackmail letter. Well, everyone, are you quite satisfied? Is there anything that I can look in this? The red diamond you received the other day. Let me please present on this. Please. Fuck, I need to save. Fuck it. Just in case this is fuck up. Yes! Mind if I ask you a few questions, Detective at me? Well, if it's just a few, I guess it's alright. When you said that this letter was addressed to Ron Delight, I couldn't help but notice one major contradiction. Contradiction? I don't know where a walking contradiction like you gets off saying things like that. You're one to talk. At times like these, men are made to express themselves with their fists. Why don't you show us what you've got there, Junior? Indeed, time to man up, Mr. Wright. Shut up, Judge. Show us the contradictory evidence in the content of the blackmail letter. Huh. Little 2-1 punch that wouldn't even faze me. I think you mean 1-2 punch. Mr. Wright, try thinking things through a little more before finding fault with others. Are you fucking kidding me? Ouch. I sure felt that punch, Your Honor. Anyway, let's try reading the blackmail letter one more time. There's got to be something about it off somewhere. Very well then, witness, please proceed with your testimony. Oh my god! Jesus Christ. Because I can't be like, oh yeah, line 6 on this thing with the little fucking ring. Let me guess, do I have to present his profile? Because I swear to God, otherwise I have no idea what it is. It has to be. Please. Are you fucking kidding me? Take a good look at this newspaper clipping. I don't know why it's this. I just fucking presented everything. It contains a picture of the Tear of Ammon, the stolen jewel. What about it? The problem is this jewel's color. Color? I'm not much for discussing color myself. According to the clipping, the color of the stolen jewel was blue. However, in the blackmail letter, a totally different jewel is mentioned. I'll take that red diamond you received the other day. Okay. Red? Didn't he steal other jewels and it wasn't just that one? Oh, he stole a crown. Okay. Whatever. That's why I presented his profile. Because he's wearing a fucking red ring. Fuck off. Which means the red diamond described in the blackmail letter is not the Tear of Ammon that the Master Mass stole at all. Objection. Your point is, Mr. Trite, the point is that he got paid off. And, well, not paid off, but he did get paid off, but the point being that it went to, fucking, what's it, Abby? Fucking Abby's name. Are you trying to say that the blackmail letter was intended for someone else? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's what you're trying to say, right, Trite? Is that what you're trying to say, right, Mr. Wright? Well, that is what you're trying to say, right, Nick? Please, everyone, stop it. Yes. This is who Kane Bullard was actually blackmailing. Naturally, it was you, Detective Atme, because he knew you were. Mask to Mask as well? Wait, is he all the above? What the hell? Do you have some sort of basis for your claim? You've been personally involved in every single Mask to Mask case. In the last case, you recovered what was stolen and received a jewel as your reward. A jewel. Probably the one wrapped conspicuously around your finger. The red diamond ring. What ring? What ring?